news tonight. 3 Azam Media Limited employees laid to rest in Dar es Salaam, Tanga and Iringa. CCRA starts operation against violators of SIM card registration procedures. And in sports, TFF officials failed to turn up at Minister Dr. Harrison Mwakembe's meeting. Good evening, this is Capital News at 9:30. My name is Khadija Zimbwe. First, the national news. Hundreds of residents and leaders of Tanga, Iringa and Dar es Salaam regions turned up at the burials of 3 employees of Azam Media Limited, Said Haji, Silvanus Kasongo and Charles Wandui, who perished in a road accident on Monday in Singida region. Said Haji was laid to rest in Hale Town, Korogwe District, Tanga region.
We've nothing that we can do other than pray for the departed so they can rest in peace, but also to express our condolences to all parents affected, as well as Azam Television, who has been affected very deeply. The company has contributed 1 million shillings in addition to burial preparations from Muhimbili to his burial home. But the family of Said Baresa and his family members have contributed 10 million to the family of Saidi Haji. On behalf of the family, I've received 1 million. We are very grateful. We would like to express our heartfelt thanks to the family of Said Baresa for contributing 10 million to the family.
In Iringa region, the body of engineer Silvanus Kasongo, who was also among victims of the tragic accident in which 7 people were killed, including 5 employees of Azam Limited, was laid to rest at Igeleke Cemetery. The funeral was attended by several leaders, including MP of Iringa Urban Peter Msigwa and MP of Kilolo Venance Momoto.
I raised Silvanus to adulthood. He was a good example to be emulated by others and a big help to his family. Our value in this world will not be measured by how long we've lived, but rather by the impact we leave behind in our communities. What Silvanus has left us is rare.
In Dar es Salaam, another employee of Azam Media Limited who died in an accident in Singida on Monday, cameraman Charles Wandui, was laid to rest at Asinza Cemetery.
Familia ya Charles, najua mmepoteza mtoto ambaye alikuwa ni mwadilifu.
I would like to thank the family. I know you've lost a son who was ethical and very much relied upon, a family member who held a significant role in your family, but it is God's will. Charles was very important to this family. He was very much loved. Because of the work they did, they were all essential members in Azam Media. I believe that God will find a way, although the gap will not be filled.
God rest them in eternal peace. Amen. Now, moving on, President of Zanzibar and Chairman of the Revolutionary Council, Al-Hajj Dr. Ali Mohammed Shein, has sent a message of condolence to the chairman of SS Bakhresa Group of Companies following the deaths of 5 employees of Azam Media. In his message, President said that he and the people of Zanzibar have received news of the accident with great sadness. He wished the families of the deceased employees of Azam Media courage during this difficult period. Tanzania Communication Regulatory Authority in Mwanza region, in collaboration with the police force, is implementing an operation against violators of SIM card registration procedures. The head of TCRA in Lake Zone, Engineer Francis Mihayo, said that during the operation they found some agents registering customers who did not have required identification cards, and that several of them have been arrested.
TCRA has discovered unlawful activities done by some agents. One is there has been registration of SIM cards, commonly known as takeaway. What happens is there is some dishonesty from agents who register new SIM cards twice.
I would like to say that I was already doing the company's work. Also, the company was supposed to give me conditions. However, they failed to do so. Now, in light of all that, don't you think that you are treating me unfairly?
Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa has met and held talks with the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, on strengthening cooperation between Tanzania and Egypt. In the talks held at State House in Cairo, the two leaders also talked on issues concerning political, economic and social cooperation. Prime Minister Kassim Majaliwa, who has ended his three-day tour, was also accompanied by the Minister of Agriculture, Japhet Hasunga. Force has allocated 10 prisons for production of food for prisoners, being implementation of a aimed at ending dependency on government subsidy. The statement was made by the Commissioner General of Prisons, Faustin Kasike, during his tour of Kagera region.
I would like to say that as a high-ranking prisons officer, we will use all the resources that are available to us so as to ensure that enough food is produced. In fact, we have already launched a special plan in which we have set aside 10 prisons that include both large and small ones, which will engage in the production of food. Would you like to say that as the Kagera regional government, that we are fully prepared to provide any type of support to the prison officials so that the goal of ensuring that prisons in this region can become self-reliant will be achieved?
Financial institutions in the country have been advised to provide affordable loans to entrepreneurs so as to enable them to produce quality products and be competitive in the local and external market. The advice was given by former President of Zanzibar, Dr. Aman Abeid Karume, when he visited the 43rd Dar es Salaam International Trade Fair.
We've seen some and we are satisfied because they are very important to the development of our country. We visited Mama Anam Kappa NGO on small entrepreneurs doing different activities with a lot of creativity. There is no reliable market or place to display our products. The price is also high for majority of people. We ask if it can be lowered so more people can afford.
Now, residents of Njombe region have commended the government for providing good quality services at the new Njombe Referral Hospital, which has contributed to decline in the number of patients forced to travel long distances to get medical services at Maria Consolata Hospital in Makete district. They made the remarks during the launch of the hospital at Mgodechi village, built at a cost of 7.6 billion shillings.
We welcome you to come and receive ear, nose and throat care, but please follow referral procedures. We'll start with the second phase to build a regional referral hospital for Njombe. We will be building a 3-storied maternity ward.
Tanzanians have been urged to use opportunities in the 39th Southern Africa Development Community SADC Summit, expected to be held in Dar es Salaam next month. This was said by participants of a workshop for journalists covering the upcoming summit.
Naam, mimi naamini kwamba Tanzania tuko katika njia sahihi.
I believe that Tanzania is on the right track. We've put emphasis, backed with actions in developing our industries. In just a short space of time, we've seen a lot of industries sprouting. In this regard, I believe it is the right time. And when SADC comes, there are some who will spot investment opportunities in our industries on home-made products. It is important for any nation to identify areas they can invest in at a minimum cost so others can learn from them.
Wito wangu kwa waandishi wa habari ni kuandika habari kwa upana.
My call to the media is to cover what we are doing here at length so visitors can get to hear about different opportunities and on what areas they can invest in. So as SADC member state, we can benefit too.
And that is the end of national news. International news follows shortly. And in international news, President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya has urged African countries to work jointly in their fight against terrorism. He made the call when opening a two-day conference on anti-terrorism, which was also attended by the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres.
Has suffered greatly at the hands of global terrorism.
Africa has suffered greatly in the hands of global terrorism, with links to Al-Qaeda like Al-Shabaab and Boko Haram, which continue to threaten many countries. These terror groups are like cancer. Once they are established, they continue spreading everywhere. There is no African nation can rest easy, and we are all targets as sites of terror groups. Both state and non-state actors must unite in educating youth who are in danger of being recruited in these groups.
To be defeated.
For terrorism to be defeated, it is essential that African institutions dealing in security matters should receive enough support. As a continent, we should not accept this defeat and disrupt all developments achieved. The immigration crisis has struck a political debate in Europe after two German vessels carrying migrants were banned from entering Italy and another Malta, a situation which has led to Italian authorities to investigate Carola Racchetti, the captain of a Sea Watch. We have our correspondent from Deutsche Welle, Thomas Sparrow. Thomas, how has Germany responded to these latest developments?
This has been extremely controversial here in Germany, and it has, as you said, restarted a debate, by the way, not only here in Germany but also in other European countries, about the possibility of finding common European solutions to all of this. As you know, that has been one of the key difficulties for European leaders in recent years, in particular since the beginning of the migration crisis, to try and find possible solutions at an EU-wide level. There have been a few, but at the same time on other issues, for example, the redistribution of migrants, that has been a key difficulty. When you're asking about the reaction here in Germany, you have on the one hand those who are in favor of these rescue vessels rescuing migrants at sea and bringing them to a shore where they can be treated medically, for example, where they can then be redistributed. There have been protests here in Berlin in support of the German captain, in support of these kinds of policies, but also asking German authorities to do much more. On the other hand, you have politicians, in particular from the far-right Alternative for Germany, that have criticized these vessels, that have said that they are not necessarily saving people, but they're actually promoting migration to Europe by giving the impression that migrants can start the journey and they will somehow be rescued and brought to the EU. So you have a wide spectrum of ideas here in Germany, also in other European countries, as to what these rescue operations mean, how important they are, and what they mean for European solutions as a whole, which, as I say, are particularly difficult to achieve.
So how are other European countries reacting to how Italy is handling the migrant situation?
Well, here in Germany, for example, German authorities have been very critical about the way Italy has dealt with this. We've heard reactions from the German president, for example, from the German interior minister, from the German foreign minister, and this is something that has certainly strained relationships between Germany and Italy, but also between Italy and EU institutions. Again, the debate whether it is okay or it is legitimate for Italian authorities to simply basically close off their borders and even fine vessels that dock on Italian ports, whether that is the correct way forward, or where, on the other hand, what some politicians believe, namely that there should be a humanitarian responsibility when it comes to dealing with these issues.
So what is being done to try and resolve the crisis?
Well, it's a big word, the migration crisis, so there are lots of things that are being done at a European level, at a national level in different countries. The European Union has focused on trying to prevent migrants from making that journey in the first place by, for example, striking very controversial deals with countries like Turkey or Libya in this most recent case, something that is not seen in a positive light by human rights organizations, by NGOs, but that is at least one of the focus coming from Brussels. Brussels has also, in a way, scaled down some of its missions. I'm talking in particular about Operation Sophia, but it is also discussing new initiatives to try and deal with the situation. And then you have the initiatives at a local or at a national level, where Italy has one clear position, basically, as I said, closing its ports to migrants, whereas Germany also has presented initiatives to try and foster legal migration of high-skilled migrants, where at the same time making it more difficult for failed asylum seekers to stay in the country, speeding up deportations and alike. So you have national decisions, national initiatives on the one hand, and then you have European-wide initiatives on the other hand, although European-wide initiatives have been extremely difficult to find and to develop, because there are countries in Europe with very different views when it comes to accepting or redistributing migrants that arrive at Europe, especially countries like Italy or Malta.
All right, thank you so much, Thomas, for that insightful information. We'll keep on checking out and finding out on how will the investigations be like in the end. And that is the end of international news. Business news follows shortly.
Watch Business Edition as we talk to business leaders and experts in sectors that are transforming Tanzania's economy.
To be rich, I have to be a business person.
It's not an easy road at all.
People need to understand.
You must quickly think, how cost effective are you going to be?
Business acts as a way in which it can bridge that gap.
Business Edition will keep you informed on latest developments in the financial sector, extractive industry, tourism, agriculture, energy, construction, and so much more. Meet entrepreneurs who create employment opportunities. Watch Business Edition on Friday at 8:15 p.m.
Welcome back, and in business news tonight. Tanzania Private Sector Foundation (TPSF) has met with stakeholders from the Lake Zone in Mwanza to discuss on how to implement guidelines and amendments of regulations of the blueprint, which aims to improve the business environment in the country. Indiligent workers at the private sector is a source towards government extreme control measures, which has actually led to a lot of loss to the private sector. TPSF and the whole of private sector, we are emphasizing diligence in the sector by introducing code of conduct which aims at reducing extreme control measures done by the government and create direction towards self-regulation, is how developed countries are operating economically. We all know that business environment are divided in infrastructures and regulations. The blueprint is determined to make revolution in creating business environment through regulation systems. These systems have proved contradictions in regulation institutions, unrealistic levies. Thus, this document have come up with solutions towards the government. Agricultural stakeholders in Katavi have passed a resolution banning transportation of unprocessed rice out of the region, and instead they should add a value to the grain by processing it so as to earn more. In order for us to make profit, the warehouses should not remain empty. I think it is important that the government should ban exportation of rice from Tanzania. If they find potentials here, investors should be allowed to invest with the locals in the agriculture sector. But we have challenges of markets. When foreigners face scarcity of a certain crop, they run here to collect them. But once they have surplus, then our crops have nowhere to go. Mobile phone company Vodacom, in partnership with Tanzania Postal Bank TPB, has launched a new service called Songesha na M-Pesa, which will enable customers access loans when they want to make transactions via M-Pesa. We all know that business environment are divided in infrastructure and regulations. The blueprint is determined to make revolution in creating business environment through regulation systems. These systems have proved contradictions in regulation institutions and unrealistic levies. Thus, this document have come up with solutions towards how the government will come up with solutions in this sector so that it will excel and contribute more in the industrial economy. This system will allow our customers and Vodacom customers to have access to their bank account money transferred through M-Pesa anytime, anywhere. However, when a Vodacom customer uses M-Pesa services more, then they create greater chances of borrowing money according to the standard that has been regulated through regular use of the service, meaning borrowing and returning money on time. We do apologize for the mixture of the story there, but that is the end of a business news. Sports news follows shortly.
Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Away first time, good start from Bolt. Bolt leading a moment of going away. Gay trying to go with him, and he's going to be dragged through the second place, but he's going to win it by 2 meters. Opposition, Joaquinho, he did lose to Lent.
And in sports news tonight, the Minister of Information, Culture, Arts and Sports, Dr. Harrison Mwakembe, has been angered about failure of leaders of the Football Federation to attend a meeting he called to discuss on long and short-term plans of the national team after sacking coach Emmanuel Amunike.
Nimeambiwa kwamba wana vikao vingine. Kwa hiyo ndio unaweza kuwa na kiburi.
I was told that they have other meetings. So you can see the arrogance of soccer leaders in the country. You are called by the government and you have other meetings and you call your assistants. In the next meeting, the TRA manager will also be there. We're not against what happened. What we want to know is, we made this decision. What is TFF's strategic plan to take us to another step? Those are the answers we need. You can sack anyone. I just wanted to know what pushed TFF to hurry in letting him go.
Australia's Bankstown Berries under-15 winger Juma Mrisho, who is of Tanzania origin, has urged Tanzanian authorities to promote soccer academies for young players in order to groom skills required at international level.
In football behind is structure. Like making teams from under 4, like I've been talking to a few people and like I heard that football only starts from under 17s. So you have a player that's from under 4s, like from birth to under 17s, where it's like no structure has been given to them. So it's very hard for a player to be shown how football really works.
Benin coach Michael Dosia has insisted the pressure will be on Senegal, who are regarded as favourites for the Africa Cup of Nations title when they meet in the quarterfinal tonight. Here are more details.
The Squirrels have enjoyed an impressive outing in the finals, qualifying for the knockout stages from a group that consists of Cameroon, Ghana and Guinea-Bissau before defeating North African giants Morocco in the round of 16 to reach the last 8 of the tournament for the first time in their history. The 60-year-old manager admitted it would be tough playing one of the best teams in Africa, Senegal, but has urged his side not to relent in their quest to finish well in the tournament. Facing Senegal is a big challenge against the tournament's favourite. With everything to gain, the pressure is on Senegal, who were favoured for the title, Dossier said in a pre-match press conference.
Nigeria forward Odion Igalo has warned South Africa not to expect the same Nigeria performance as qualifiers when they clash in the quarterfinal of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations tonight.
Countries were paired against each other in Group E of the qualifying round for the continental tournament, where they faced off home and away. 2 years ago, South Africa defeated Gernot Ross' side 2-0 in Uyo, which turned out to be Nigeria's only defeat in the qualifiers. The second match took place in Johannesburg last November and they played out a 1-1 draw. Nigeria have progressed in 8 of the 9 previous quarterfinals in the competition, and Igalo reaffirmed his team's commitment to make Nigeria fans proud against a very fast Bafana team.
And that's sports item ends our news bulletin for tonight. My name is Khadija Zimbo. Thank you for watching and good night.